Hey there! Welcome to another episode of the Super Review Show's Career Retrospectives, right here on the Super Review Show Network. I am joined by my two incredible, great, awesome, super great friends, Kyle and Mike. What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yo, what's up, man? I'm just doing this. I want to do this. It's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be this review. Everyone like put the fist up.
Yes, this review is going to be nothing but fists out straight to the camera as we record our discussion today on Mick Mars's The Other Side of Mars, his first solo, his debut solo effort of his own material that came out. Was it February of this year? Right, Kyle?
Yep.
Right, February
Yep.
23rd, 2024. Kyle mentioned this. So, for those of you who've been following us for any period of time, the last 2 weeks we did the Beatles career discography breakdown. But this came out during that time period, so we couldn't review it then, but we're reviewing it now. And this is Kyle informed us of it, so I'm gonna let Kyle take the reins here, and here we go. So, Kyle, what do you got for Mick Mars and just this album in general?
Sure thing. I mean, Mick Mars has always been one of my favorite guitarists. I love what he brought. I personally feel like he was the Motley Crue sound. I think that, he brought this kind of dirty, bluesy riffs to the music that wasn't really in that hair metal, like glam era at all. And it really defined their sound. So I was looking forward to it. And that stayed consistent throughout their career. So I was looking forward to this quite a bit, see like what he could do on his own. Because in Motley Crue, a big part of this, Nikki Sixx is the main songwriter. So I was curious to see where this would go. I knew for a while he was working with John Corabi, who did the 94 or 91, whatever it was, Motley Crue album, self-titled. Uh, I thought that would have been cool, but that's not really what we got here. I was hoping for that. What we did get was, in my opinion, a take on almost a 90s rock revival. Uh, it's not bad. There's some solid like radio rock on here, but to me, what it lacks a lot of is Mick Mars's signature style, which really surprised me. I didn't really hear a lot of those like bluesy riffs. It lacked his for the most part on most tracks kind of lacked that tone that I was looking for from him. He always has such a good guitar tone. Not to say it sounds bad here, but it just sounds generic. So I mean, if you want to go, JC, if you want to pull up the track list and get
Right
into
ahead of you.
that. I mean, right off the bat, Loyal to the Lie. I'm not going to do a huge in-depth breakdown of all of them because what I have to say about a lot of them is pretty much the same. I'm not a huge fan of this vocalist. I'm just gonna get that out of the way right up front. I think he has a pretty, at least on this album, I don't know who he is, Jacob Bunton, not familiar with him outside of this album. From what's on display here, he has a pretty limited vocal range. And I think a lot of the songs tend to suffer from that. So I mean, you start with Loyal to the Lie. I mean, you got a 7 out of 10 here. It's just generic radio rock. It's a solid track. Doesn't really go beyond that generic radio rock song style though. Then you go to Broken on the Inside. This is a 5. This one, interested to see what you guys had to say on this because I thought this had some weird transitions throughout that really just didn't work well. I didn't think the vocalist sounded good on this one at all. The chorus was weird. And the first time that like record skipping outro of the song happened, I actually thought there was something wrong with my Spotify and rewound it. I thought like my Wi-Fi was going like wonky or something. I don't know what I thought. And it still annoys me every time I hear that. So that one's a 5. Alone and Killing Breed kind of lump these together. They're both 6s. Killing Breed sounds kind of like a modern Avenged Sevenfold song, which, as we've talked about, modern Avenged Sevenfold, not a great thing in and of itself. It has a cool instrumental break toward the end. That's about it. And then we get to the worst track on here, Memories. This is a straight 4. I mean, this really needed to pick up towards the end. This is just boring. I was really hoping that it was gonna like kind of crescendo into like a kind of like heavy instrumental at the end, like a melodic guitar solo or something. It's just weird for me to have a piano driven song on a Mick Mars solo album with no real like guitar stylings or guitar solo on here. Very strange. Lyrics are corny as hell on this one. Vocalist again doesn't sound good. Right side, right side of wrong. I think this is the first single, if I'm not mistaken. It did a good job in introducing the album. It's a 7 again. Again, it's a fun like just radio rock generic song. Ready to roll, fun song, good chorus, a bit repetitive. I kind of like the guitar kind of following the vocal melody on the choruses. Got another 7 here. Then you're gonna go to Undone. Little step down again. It's a 6. It's just a mid, pretty standard by the books, mid tempo radio rocker. It got close to a 7, but it needed to do something with its runtime that it just never evolved into. And I think that it had potential to go there, and it just never took that turn I was hoping for. Then you got Ain't Going Back. This is my favorite song on here. This is actually really good radio rock. Like, it's fun. It's a bit repetitive. It's the best chorus on the album by far. This was an 8 for me. And then you polish it off with LA Noir, which is really what I was hoping for from this album. On its own as an instrumental, it doesn't really go past a 7 for me. There are certain things that I think could have kicked it up quite a bit. But this is the kind of sound I wanted from a Mick Mars solo album. It has life to it. It sounds different. It has his usual style. Like when I hear this, I hear, yep, that's Mick Mars. When I hear the other 9 tracks on here, I just think this could be any modern alternative rock guitarist. There's nothing special about those. This one, and he always, excels on instrumentals. He did plenty of them with Motley Crue that, are great. This is a nice little addition to it. I just wish that we had more of this style throughout. So, I mean, overall for me, as a huge Motley Crue fan, as a huge Mick Mars fan, it's a solid album. It's a very good background album. You just put it on, just kind of tune it out and just have like music on in the background. It's nothing that I would really go back to very frequently as an album. A couple of songs, I would throw in some playlists if I wanted just like some alternative rock going on. Just something like Drive 2. It fills that purpose. Overall, and we've got a 6 out of 10 album here. It's solid. It's not the best. There's outside of Memories, nothing on it that I would classify as overtly bad. There you go. Solid radio rock.
All right, you heard it first from Kyle. I'm actually going to go next if that's okay with you, Mike.
Go for it.
Cool. When we first said that we were going to do Mick Mars's a solo album by him, a debut solo album by him, I was like, oh, okay, all right, you have my attention. I'm not the. Let me preface with what I'm saying is I am not the biggest Motley Crue fan. I do enjoy a good number of their tracks, but I'm not the biggest like into them as much as, let's say, other people you might hear or in general. But I do enjoy enough of their tracks to say, it's Kickstart My Heart or it's Girls, whatever. But going into, I had like an idea of what I was kind of getting myself into in here, but it was to kind of echo Kyle to an extent. It was not really what I was expecting to like that degree. I was expecting something along the lines of like that 80s hair thrash style to an extent, but what we got as literally, I'm going to echo Kyle to a heavy extent here. This is just very generic radio rock to a T. Actually, I would say that very much so. Just going track by track here as well. I'm going to just rank them as well here, 1 to 10. Loyal to the Lie. To me, it was sitting like a 5 or a 5.5, maybe pushing a 6 out of here. Good opening track. I like it. It wasn't like just. I'm gonna repeat a lot here, so forgive me. But it was good, but it wasn't like as great as I thought it was gonna be. It's just generic, rock, to if you want to put it out there. Broken on the Inside. I had like trouble with like, and I'm gonna say this right now. As the album progressed on for me, slowly but surely, I found myself getting a little bit fatigued bit by bit. Just by some of the songs here, because it's a lot of them sounded the same. but a lot of them there was some differences here and there. When I get into memories, I'll mention that in a second. But Broken on the Inside, kind of like a similar sound to Loyal to the Line. Not a bad song, excuse me, not a bad song, but just like just a song that's just very like it's there. It's just sitting about like a five again. They're there. Alone, good track. I like it. Sitting at about a 4, maybe pushing a 5 here. Truthfully, I'm very mid on this record. Truthfully, already. Killing Breed, I can lump right into that as well. With like, just a lot of it just sounding the same for whatever reason. Not like, just not like how to put this. It's just a lot of it just sounds the same to me. Like, and I'm not saying that because like of like my precursor knowledge of Motley Crue or in general. Just if you go into an open mindset of listening to this Mick Mars record, you might actually say, well, this track might sound the same as this, might sound the same as that, or at least stylistically, it's very similar. And then you get down to Memories, and you're like, I completely agree with Kyle that it's like at first I was expecting like a very like a strong, like a song that sounded like the first 4 tracks, but the fact that it was a piano ballad, like I mean, it had my attention. I was like, oh, he's actually playing the piano instead of just playing guitar. That's you have my attention with the strings and stuff like that. It wasn't a bad track. This is probably like my we go up a little bit here. This is like probably 6.5 right here for Memories. I liked it. It wasn't anything special. It was a lot better than the Geordie Maroon 5 Memories. Let me just say that. We'll just go from there. We all know where that. We all
I'll
know where we
disagree with that statement.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
All
thought
right.
that was the one saving grace on that album.
That's a fair
I
point.
agree with that. That's actually the only song I think I remember from that review. To
I
be
never
honest
go
with you.
back to it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't go back to that one that
Look,
often.
JT, when you see your counselor, just make sure you talk to him about Jordy because you seem to have some,
I have nightmares about Jordy,
trauma.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Literally, I have trauma
yeah.
from Jordy.
You're you're
No, but
you're
anyways,
repressing imagery and
yeah, it's like my nightmare is coming to reality. With that album, I will talk to my therapist about that. I'm not even kidding. Right Side of Wrong. This is a good song. It's sitting at like a 7.5 out of 10 for this one. I could see why it was the single that got released. Not expecting too much out of this, but it was very good. I liked it. About a 7.5 out of 10. Ready to Roll, kind of kicking it up there a little bit. Saying about a 6.5 to a 7. I got nothing super crazy, but I'm Undone. It's like a 6. It's nothing too crazy. Ain't Going Back. Very good track. Saying about actually a 6.5, maybe pushing 6.75. Not quite a 7, but we're getting there. LA Noir, it's funny. I was listening to it on the way back to before we did our stream tonight and during our broadcast about what our podcast, excuse me, for this track. And I didn't, it's funny. I didn't expect it to be like instrumental, I guess you could say. Like I didn't expect it to be that, but I did enjoy, like, it's funny. Like it's probably the strongest like track on here, I guess you could say. That's just me. But and this is like again echoing Kyle to a very heavy extent. I guess we're on the same page here. Um, this is the sound I kind of was expecting more of. With Mick Mars as a musician in general, I was just expecting more of something like this. But I wish that we got more of like that than what we got. So what I'm sitting at here is probably like just a flat old 5 out of 10. It is. I will say that if you want to just put like instrumental, quote unquote, radio or not garage, but like just rock on in like the background. Hey, Mick Mars has got an album out. There you go. I think I think this is a very good album to put on in the background of like in just in general, like if you're doing work on your computer or you want to listen to something new, give this a shot. I think you might be surprised, but for me, I'm a little bit lower than Kyle, but that's just me personally. I'm a very mid album for me, just with a 5 out of 10. Nothing super crazy, but nothing super bad at the same time. So that's just me. But Mike loved this record. I know he did.
oh yeah, he's my new favorite artist of the year. Artist of the year,
He's already
folks.
showing his fist ready to go, just like the album cover. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
man. I'm ordering my Mars tattoo right now on
Exactly.
Mars.com. Not a sponsor. But yeah, I kind of came into this and
Don't rule it
yeah,
out, man.
not yeah, it's true. If you want to sponsor us, Mars, holla at your boys. But yeah, so overall, so I like just hear some chatter from some friends who are into music at work. Shout out to Kenny at the Pro Desk. But basically, he was talking about this album and saying that he was kind of getting these vibes between like Alice in Chains meets like some all grungy kind of just um darker kind of stuff. So I was intrigued by that, and I actually kind of like looked at some of the imagery, the black and white, the photos and the forest. Looks like something straight out of like a melodic death metal album. And
Yes.
yeah, that got me kind of excited. I was just like, wow, this looks kind of cool. Like this could be like I was hoping for some blazing riffs and some real like up tempo kind of stuff. And the big problem with this album is it's inconsistent on a lot of fronts. It's inconsistent vocally. I thought Mick Mars was singing. I really don't know too much about him. And I realized it's another vocalist. This is such a head scratcher. Why would you bring in a vocalist who really brings nothing to your project? Um,
Especially
you
when you
know,
are Mick Mars, the guitarist from one of the biggest bands ever,
exactly.
really.
And
You could have
Motley
gotten
Crue is
anyone you
known
wanted
for
to sing on this.
right. Motley Crue is known for dynamic, like upper register vocals. To go complete 180, but not even a good 180, like
Yep.
like where you like, Alice in Chains had Lane Staley had some amazingly dynamic vocals, but still in a despair kind of like agonized manner. Whereas like this guy just felt like his mumbles, his on purpose spoken into kind of a distorted microphone, were just took me out of like the pacing or at least the consistency of the vocals. And then when they came in, they were just kind of meh. A lot of the choruses were meh. A lot of the guitar riffs were punchy and hard, but they were kind of uh like that was it. Like you have a punchy riff, and then you go into just some of the most generic kind of bridge to a chorus who I honestly could forget. And that was kind of like rinse, wash, repeat for this whole album. A lot of it sounded the same. Echo JT on that. Echo Kyle on like expected something like Mick Mars would do, but like more his style and translate it to this kind of grungy dark feeling. Didn't get that. So like overall inconsistent and uh, uh afraid to take any kind of risks or turns that would make this album a very interesting listen. Coming down the straight, and as you get through an album, that's something the whole point of this whole series is to show album fatigue, is to show that it's even more difficult than ever to write an album because you have to realize that you have to captivate your audience straight through. It's not a listen to a song and then a week goes by and listen to another. It's you have me for 39 minutes and 9 seconds. And if in that time you're unable to captivate me throughout the whole thing, you're really going to suffer across the board. And I think it's a very tough job for a lot of artists who are lacking that ability to um, be kind of, have the um, just writing ability or just just the ability to put out songs that all don't sound the same and have a unique kind of melody to them that a lot of artists show that they're unable to do that. So yeah, Loyal to Lie, starting off 6.5 is nothing great. Opens with a groovy riff. Like I said, it's inconsistent vocally, underwhelming solo. It's just not anything really but it's not bad. It's just like, but it's the beginning of the album, so you're kind of coming in. And Broken on the inside, this was just not a good track. Probably my least favorite track on the album. Just feels all messy, all over the place. Yeah. Vocally, it's just the chorus is not good. It's just not good. So it was like a 3 out of 10 for me. And I was at a 4, but I just kind of like as I went along, I got a little more like annoyed at like some of the inconsistencies. Alone, it's kind of a nice, relaxing, kind of chill song. Kind of remind me of Europe's new stuff, weirdly enough. And also, just kind of overall, it was decent. You know, not a bad song, kind of chill. I like the melodic nature of the vocals here, and I like the chorus. Nothing great, 6.5. So, you know, we're kind of hovering in there. And then we go to Killing Breed. It's just a 4. It just plods. It doesn't do much. It's I appreciate the atmosphere, but it's just kind of like the chorus is a mess, and same kind of thing. Memories, yeah, I completely. Lyrics aren't great. Like they just really suffer. And it suffers here from the album pacing as well. Like you go from Killing Breed to this, it's just like I kind of was hoping there was something like a little more, you know, up tempo. It just isn't an interesting melody to it, and nothing really done well in this song. You know, so that was like a 4 for me. You know, Right Side of Wrong. It's a pretty standard tune, to be honest with you. I just don't love the chorus. The song doesn't take any turns. It's a 5 out of 10 for me. Ready to Roll. Once again, same thing. And, you know, a lot of it, and JT like nailed it on the head. It just all kind of like blends into one another, and they really have nothing interesting to like bring to the party. It's like, you know, it's like uh putting vinegar on like a hot dog with sauerkraut. It's like, you know, it's like what else is there? It just is kind of the same thing. So 5 out of 10 for Ready to Roll. It's just generic. And none of the choruses really take me to a place where I'm like, that's really good, you know. But there was one song I really actually felt like was one that separated itself to some degree. Undone, another basic one, just 6 out of 10. Not much to say about a lot of these tracks. You know, then you got Ain't Going Back's my favorite track on the album. Damn you, Kyle. Like, why do we have to be in alignment? Because we're never in alignment on every other time when it matters, and we're in alignment when it doesn't matter.
Hey, well, you know,
uh,
it seems like we're all in pretty much agreement on this album.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, you know, Ain't Going Back. Yeah, just like the chorus, a groovy riff. It kind of reminds me of Sum 41, actually, with that little guitar in the background. Their last album, that kind of a lead guitar kind of flowing over the back and kind of pushing the song along. I appreciate that. So it's like one of the better songs there, and the shortest, one of the shortest songs on the album, which is tragic. So then we go to L.A. Noir, and I completely agree with Kyle. When I heard this, I was just like, first of all, it's like, what? They didn't do any of this before, and all of a sudden we're doing this. Like it was like someone woke up from their nap and like, oh, that's right, I forgot I'm Mick Mars. You know, and it's just like bizarre. I was just like, wow, I would have liked more incorporation of this in the rest of the album. Maybe even another break in between, maybe song 4, 5, or 6, where they did another bluesy kind of thing, but like maybe like Kyle was saying, flesh it out, do some more with it. Yeah, just was a head scratcher. It's like, hey, I got something really good and I don't care about it or want to incorporate it. I just want to just put it in the background and just leave a stamp on the album. It's like, hey, don't forget, I'm Mick Mars and this is my album. It's like, cool.
Also
So
notice that that was the one song on here that he's the sole writer for.
yeah, maybe his handlers were like, all
He
right,
is
go ahead.
73 now.
His handlers, all right, Grandpa, go on out there and play a song. All right. Yeah, you know, but I mean, it is definitely something I definitely would not go back to. I'm sitting right where JT is. I'm a 5 out of 10, so there's no villain here. I think we're just equal villain, equal parts villain, equal parts confused of what happened during this. And overall, just yeah, I would say, hey, I'm looking forward to the next effort, see if something changes. But to be honest with you, like when something like this leaves you little to digest, you don't really play the game of like, yeah, I'll give it another chance. It's kind of like it's got to come out, reach out, and like punch me in the face with like something unique. It's no longer going to be given the I'm going to track it and keep up to date with it and like check it out. It's more like I better hear a song and it better to like blow my face off or like be the thing that like ever people who know music are talking about it. If it's not that, then I'm not like working on my ability to like look for this album or this the next album, the next song, you know, all that kind of thing. So yeah, 5 out of 10, pretty underwhelming.
I do also have to ask you guys real quick. JT, go back to that Wikipedia page.
Yeah, JT.
Did anyone else not even notice the fact that uh, tracks 4 and 8 was that Killing Breed and Undone had a different lead vocalist? Because I sure as hell didn't.
Really?
I did not know that until just now,
Oh wow.
until I saw it on here. They sounded the same to me.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah. Weird. I think I did notice, but again, I kind of thought Mick Mars and the vocalists were kind of switching back and forth at one point. Um, so I kind of just chalked it up as like, a song where one person took over than the other, but neither vocalists were. I think it's like any good actor can be bad if they're put in the wrong role or they're given the wrong like medium, so just because they're good elsewhere doesn't mean they're going to be good here. They got to have good material, so I think a lot of vocals can suffer from that.
Yeah, I just don't know why. Again, you could be one of the best guitarists out there and one of the biggest bands, and you could get anyone to do vocals on the album, and this is
Hmm.
what we got. I
Right,
mean, he
it's
even
like,
could have called up John Corabi from, the old Motley record. They still keep in touch. They were writing stuff together at one point.
hmm,
Hell, anyone. I mean, I've never even heard of these people, which, you know, maybe wanted to give newer people a shot. I really don't know, but
probably
it
like
really did
your
not
their
work for me.
schedules align. You're like, oh, you doing anything? No. All right, you're the vocals.
Yeah,
Schedules open? Cool. You're the vocals. Yeah, so yeah, hey, not all of them can be winners, but I do like the video that I watched of it. Like it has a cool look to it, stylistic quality to it. Appreciate that. Unfortunately, it didn't translate musically. It does have a dark, brooding feel to it, which I appreciate, but it's just not. They don't capitalize on it. They don't do anything with it or ever take it to the next level. They just kind of tread water around the idea of it.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here first, guys. That is, anything else you guys got, or is that it?
Well, she wrote.
All right, that's all she wrote. We want to thank you all for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in as always. Kyle, Q&A podcast is back, correct?
sure is.
All right. You
Yeah.
can find Q&A
Right over
podcast
on
on
Spotify.
right over on
Yeah.
Spotify. Check them out as well. They do incredible work over there. Him and his friend Steven, they all do a fantastic job. And I want to thank the two gentlemen for Kyle and Mike for doing this as always with me. This is overall a very mid sounding record, but ultimately it's what you have to say out there. Please let us know what you guys are thinking over there in the comment section below. Love to hear what you guys have to say. But for all of you guys, for all